tavern doors you stroll in, from the wet and from the cold. Grab a friend and grab a chair, raise your mugs into the air. Warm your hearts with golden ale, stomp your boots in time with me. Sing along, the tune is fair, pitch right in and tell your tale. Through the tavern doors you stroll in, from wet and from the cold. Candles flicker on the beam, smoke and laughter thread between. Grab a friend and grab a chair, raise your mugs into the air. Fiddles scrape a merry line, tankards thud in steady time. The fire is stoked, the table's clean, the girls are nice but quick and keen. Travelers shake off road and rain, lean in close and call your name. Warm your hearts with golden ale, stomp your boots and raise a hail. Grab a book or find a bard, telling tales is not that hard. Sing along, the tune is clear, pitch right in so all can hear. Sing along, the tune is clear, pitch right in so all can hear.
Hello.
Hey.
How's it going?
Oh, same Thursday. Same
Thursday.
Same shit.
It's Wednesday over here.
Same shit, different Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday here already. I wish it were.
What's it like to live in the future? What can you tell me?
I don't know. I'm not far enough into the future to really have a good understanding. Maybe Monty G can weigh in a little bit.
We'll have to ask him.
Yeah, he might show up. I don't know. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Another day of crazy.
Oh yeah, I know. Every day is crazy at your place.
It really is.
Yeah. We got us some Pat Conroy tonight.
Yes, and it's going to be awesome.
Right?
Yeah. So, well, let's welcome our peanut gallery, shall we?
Yeah.
Welcome to Books and Bards, where unforgettable lines are transformed and given new lives. Here we take inspiration from well-known books and turn them into poetry prompts, then invite poets of all ages and abilities to see where the ideas lead. We explore how a single line viewed through different lenses of experience can produce a variety of meter, metaphor, and meaning. Together, we'll discover how simple quotes from the page can unfold into poems all their own. This week, all of our poems are inspired by quotes from the book The Prince of Tides by Pat Conroy. And for those of you who haven't read it, here is your trigger warning in advance.
Yeah, a little bit of a trigger warning or set of trigger warnings here for The Prince of Tides, hey?
A little bit, yeah. So if you haven't read it yet, be warned. Adult content,
right?
Not for the squeamish.
Yeah. So I had forgotten that Pat Conroy was what people like to colloquially call a military brat. His father was a Marine Corps fighter pilot, which I had forgotten. I guess I knew it.
Right?
Long time ago.
Did not know that at all, ever, I don't think. So that's new information for me. That's really cool.
He also attended the Citadel, and I did sort of remember sort of a military school upbringing, but I'd forgotten that it was actually the Citadel. And then he taught for a while on Dalfusky Island in South Carolina. And I don't know if you ever read The Water is Wide. I think that
I have
that
read that.
yeah, it was really good.
Yes.
He talks a lot. I think that the Water is Wide is based upon his time teaching on Dalfusky Island. And if there's any
Yes.
South Carolinians in here who can correct my pronunciation, go for it, because I've always just assumed it was pronounced that way. But yeah. But The
Right.
Prince of Tides, I think a lot of people who haven't read the book have seen the Streisand movie, or may have
Probably.
seen the Streisand movie from 35 years ago, early 90s.
I have not seen it yet.
Oh. Well, normally I would say, oh yeah, the book is so much better than the movie, but the movie is actually pretty good. And
Really?
Conroy helped write it and even got
Oh,
nominated
cool.
for an Academy Award for the writing, the screenplay.
Oh, awesome. Oh, good. Well, when the author of the book helps with the writing of the
Yeah,
screen
exactly.
production, it always turns out better.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I like seeing like John Irving films, is he generally writes the screenplay or helps write the screenplay. So
That's awesome.
yeah. And certainly the movie was quite good. The book is pretty much uniformly always better. But both are very, very heavy.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
as should be evident from the prompts, hey?
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
Shall we look at those?
Yeah. You want to start off?
Sure. Let's see. Prompt number 1. You get a little moody sometimes, but I think that's because you like to read. People that like to read are always a little effed up.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Same. I love reading, and I'm perfectly normal.
I was thinking about this quote a lot, and I think one of the reasons we intense readers are so effed up is that we live pretty extensive inward lives and therefore less exterior lives, and the people who live more exterior lives are more socially adapted, right? Because they have to, because they live exterior lives, they learn to adapt to others and society and all of the norms and rules and all of that. And so, they kind of get along much better. Whereas those of us who spent so much of our life living in the interior, I think we learn less of the social customs and norms and interaction, normal interactions and so forth. So we all just come off as being a little effed up.
Yeah, well, we get so used to the lives of the people in our books and how their customs work.
Oh yeah, that too.
Actual people is just, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
Dude, and I live on the interior in a couple different ways. I'm in interior Alaska as well as inside my books. So.
Well, I think I know. I think I know what you did wrong there.
The books or Alaska?
Alaska. What the population of Alaska is like a few 100,000? Is it like 300,000 or 400,000?
You know what? I haven't checked recently. Maybe we should ask Google. Hold on.
Oh.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's 740,000 maybe. And it's huge. I mean, most of it's completely unpopulated.
Yes.
But even Anchorage and Fairbanks are not particularly dense cities, right? So
yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about the comparison between Alaska and like Connecticut, where I live, and Connecticut is about a 2.5, 3 hour drive from east to west, and about an hour and a half drive north to south. And you can literally basically drive all the way around the state, except along the southern, Long Island Sound coast. You can drive all the way around the state in a day easily.
That's crazy.
And the population is like 3.8 million, something like that, 3.7 million. So it's about
That
five
seems a
times
tad
that of
overcrowded.
Alaska. It's huge compared to the population. So yeah, you live pretty remote, I would say.
Just a bit.
All right, the second prompt: teach them the quiet verbs of kindness, to live beyond themselves. Urge them toward excellence, drive them toward gentleness, pull them deep into yourself, pull them upward toward manhood, but softly like an angel arranging clouds. Let your spirit move through them softly.
Oh, I love this. I love this quote. I really do.
Yeah. I think, as I recall, that quote is primarily about shaping young boys
Yes.
into sort of gentle space men, period.
Yes.
And so I like the sort of the gentle approach that it suggests towards guiding young men.
Yes, absolutely.
I wonder if that has something to do with Pat Conroy's time at the Citadel and or being the son of a Marine Corps fighter pilot.
Or both.
Or both, yeah.
Yeah. No, this one is beautiful. I love this idea.
Mhm.
To live beyond themselves. I mean, how many times you hear someone say they did something because they wanted to do something outside themselves? And so I think,
yeah.
or bigger than themselves. And so to teach them that quietly from the beginning, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I love the idea. I may or may not try to do it myself with my children. Not saying I'm perfect at it or even good at it, but I try.
Don't do that.
What? But no, I think it's great. I love this idea of softly like an angel arranging clouds. Like clouds are cotton candy and they get to shape them the way they want. It's awesome. It's just a fun picture.
I guess with my kids, I tried to do that softly by modeling it rather than trying to force it on them.
Yeah.
Without ever really sort of explicitly, or without often explicitly, it was a show not tell kind of an approach. But I'm not sure how much they got from me and how much they just got themselves, but that was at least my approach. So what do you think of that third prompt, huh?
I think that third prompt needs a trigger warning of its own.
It does.
So here you go. Here's your trigger warning. And the next prompt. Rape is a crime against sleep and memory. Its after image imprints itself like an irreversible negative from the camera obscura of dreams.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, there are traumas that are maybe not exactly persistent in their after effects, and then there are horrific traumas that persist long after the initial trauma.
Yeah. I have experience with this a little closer than is comfortable. Let's put it that way. And it's definitely not a pleasant thing to experience. either through somebody else who's close to you or on your own. So
yeah, I just rewatched the show The Newsroom for like the 4th time from end to end, and in the 3rd season they address this somewhat, and at some point they're trying to get well, anyway, there's a young woman and a college student who starts up a website to out attackers, and when an executive producer goes to try to talk her out of appearing on their show, you know, she the Newsroom is like 20 years old. One of the anyway, he's like talking about the literally millions of rape kits that go unprocessed, and it just kind of reminded me once again of just how common sexual assault is, not only in the United States but everywhere.
I think at one point the statistic was 1 in every 4.
Yeah, it's something like that.
So it's so sad. It's devastating how many people have to deal with that.
And you know, the statistics don't really capture it, right? Because I mean, you know, they get recorded as sexual assaults, as if it's something that occurs for like an hour or something,
right?
And then, you know, it just gets it just gets recorded as, you know, sort of this single traumatic event, but the trauma lasts for so long afterwards. You know, it just completely the statistics really don't capture sort of the violence and lasting trauma of it. So
they also don't capture all of the ones that go unrecorded,
and that too,
which is the saddest part.
Yeah, that too.
Like it's terrifying, actually. So
all right, so prompt 4. These are the quicksilver moments of my childhood I cannot remember entirely. Irresistible and emblematic, I can recall them only in fragments and shivers of the heart.
I love this quote.
Yeah.
For a couple different reasons. So I feel like this quote can be taken either as a really positive thing or a really negative thing, depending on how you look at it, which is part of why I like it so much. I like the brighter side of it, but you know, who doesn't? Because I have moments in my childhood, they're just like fragments. I'm like, I couldn't tell you what was going on. I couldn't tell you really how old I was. I couldn't, like, it's just these tiny snapshots of things that I remember with no context whatsoever. And it's just fun because it's like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? I have no idea. But they're just fun little memories. And it's so, but on the reverse of that, and I think more in line with the book are those negative memories, those tiny things that have impacted your life that leave scars almost. Those fragments are like scars that you can't get rid of, but you can't find either. They're like splinters in your finger that are so small you can't get them out. So but it's also like the irresistible and emblematic. I can just picture having one of those tiny splinters like stuck in my thumb, and I'm like, I can't resist like pulling this thing out and picking at it and poking at it, and it's not gonna do it any good. And I can't imagine poking at negative memories like that does any good either. It only makes it worse. So I really like this quote. It's a really good quote.
Yeah, I think, you know, as you say, a lot of, like, if you asked me to write a novel about my childhood, I would have a difficult time. It would come off like Memento. It would just like skip around with these little images and fragments, and I don't think I could tell a cohesive story about my childhood. And most of those little fragments would be, you know, injuries. They would be those unstable experiences, the traumatic experiences. even though, I don't think I had a particularly troublesome or difficult or whatever childhood, I would still, probably tell my childhood story just in little bits and fragments of kind of memorable moments. And most of them were
Yeah.
memorable because they were, at least many of them were traumatic.
Yeah. I think mine would be a lot of generalities. I have this, like you said, just moments and pieces, and then the rest of it's generalities. Like, generally speaking, this is how things worked in my house as an overall, and I know because it happened that way so long and so frequently that it's sort of just like ingrained. But no, but I love this quote. It's so relatable in so many different ways. It's amazing. It's an amazing quote.
Yep.
So
all right,
a
prompt
family.
5.
Yep. A family is one of nature's solubles. It dissolves in time like salt in rainwater. Interesting.
Yeah. I like the idea of salt disappearing into rainwater because, if you think of the family as a salt molecule or a grain of salt, it's sodium and chloride that are in dry form bound together. And the moment you drop it in water, the sodium and hydrogen dissociate. And so I think that's a really good, and I see it a lot with like my own family, when my brothers and I all, there's like 8 years between me and my youngest brother. And so, we all sort of left the house within a few years of each other, and fairly quickly we're living quite a distance apart. And even now, like 2 of my brothers still live, within a half an hour to an hour of our childhood home. But my brother Kevin is in a different state, and I'm on the other side of the country, and I've been, all over the world. And so we've kind of dispersed pretty widely. So there's that sense of separation that occurs, the distance that happens. So yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that it talks about family being a soluble, right? Most people think of family as a permanent thing or an almost permanent thing, right?
Yep.
Obviously, the fallibility of man, families break and come apart too easily, in my opinion. But it's sort of that argument, is family blood or is family chosen kind of a thing, and I think it can be both. I absolutely have friends who I consider family. We're close enough that that's the case, but it's an interesting concept, this idea that family can dissolve like rain in salt water. And it's a really sad idea, actually. You want to get the next one?
Yes. So we had a few poems submitted against prompt 6. I lived with the terrible knowledge that one day I would be an old man still waiting for my real life to start. Already, I pitied that old man.
I remember being little and going, I'm never going to be old.
Right.
You know what they say about turning 30? It's like 29 one day, and then you wake up on your 30th birthday and everything hurts. I'm not joking. It happened.
Yeah.
It did. It's crazy.
Yeah. I had a kind of traumatic 25th birthday, and that's kind of considered the physical peak of our lives, or at least for men. Just because I had this girlfriend at the time that for about a whole week or two just was giving me grief and busting my chops for a couple of weeks beforehand, saying, "Oh, you're about to be a quarter century old." For a long time, that was really traumatic for years and years. But then I started hitting, like 40, 45, 50, and that's when everything hurt more and more. But I do think I recognized this sense of that early on, that it's easy to defer your life until it's too late to actually live your life, which is, I think, most of what this prompt is getting at. So I mean, as soon as I was old enough, I was out of the house and off trying to live an epic life. But I think for a lot of people, it gets really deferred. And then you wake up one day and realize all that time is, what's the Pink Floyd song? Time. Then one day you wake up and find that life's kind of passed you by. And I definitely knew that I never wanted to be in that position. So, but I think for a lot of people that happens, especially, if you get married young, which I did not, if you have kids young, it's really easy to lose your 20s, say, to taking care of others, and rather than living your own kind of life. So, I mean, I was 28, I think, when I got married, and my daughter was born when I was 30. So I pushed it out a little bit. But and we have a couple of poems that go after that prompt, so that's good.
We do, and they're good poems.
Yeah.
If my opinion counts for anything, I would say they're really good poems. So.
Oh, I don't know. Should we take a vote as to whether or not your opinion matters?
Well, I mean, I guess it's a 50-50. It's your vote against mine. So unless you want to poll the audience.
Well, but I usually speak on your behalf. So.
Which means I've got 100% chance of having a good
opinion. I think I think you should read the third poem. That means you should read the first poem, and I've just pasted that in, and it's called Tidal Promises by Pac-Man.
Alrighty then. Tidal Promises by Pac-Man. I used to think life was something waiting beyond the marsh edge, past the last bend where water forgets how to hold its shape. Back then, everything felt like rehearsal for a moment that had not yet arrived. The low country never agreed with that idea. It does not move forward. It returns. The tide comes in the same way it always has. Not progress, but memory. We sat on an old dock, split and leaning, as if even wood eventually surrenders to water's opinion. No one fixed it. It didn't matter enough to correct what the tide had already decided. The concept of becoming an old man, still waiting for life to begin, once felt like a warning. Something distant. A future mistake I could still avoid by moving faster. But time here doesn't reward speed. It erases it. The marsh teaches slowly, without explanation. Fiddler crabs rewrite their maps and erase them again. Herons stand still long enough that stillness feels like thought. Even the wind circles back through the same grass as if it never left. I don't remember the exact moment I stopped believing in arrival. The memory eroded, as though I wore it down with too much expectation. Now I think the waiting was never separate from the life itself. It was the shape of it. And that old man I once pitied doesn't feel distant anymore. He feels like someone already sitting nearby, listening to the tide do what it has always done, without asking permission from anyone still learning how to call it life. End poem.
Mm. Yeah, we were both agreed on just what a great write this was. Hey,
You know, you gotta quote Tony the Tiger. More than good, they're great.
yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. It's an amazing piece. It's awesome.
Yeah, so this is I think clearly that sixth prompt.
It is, yes.
Though it also though really reflects, I think, a lot of the imagery. So I would also say, it's very Prince of Tides-esque in its imagery and ideas.
Absolutely.
So the low country, the tide, and so it has a real Prince of Tides feel to it as well. So I think that's one of the things I loved about it. But what I really liked was that the natural instinct, I think, for a poet would be to lean hard into that sixth prompt. But this kind of leans into it gently. I would say it's a little
It's a
quiet.
very gentle.
Yeah, exactly. And it does a lot of showing, not telling, which I think is really great about it. I think we both really liked the fiddler crabs rewrite their maps and erase them again. I think we both loved that image and that idea. Yeah. So the sense that you can sort of make your plans, but then you can also erase them. And the image of the fiddler crabs maybe walking across the sand and leaving little lines in the sand map behind them, and maybe then the tide coming in and erasing them is, I think, extremely strong.
Yeah. I agree. I love that section. I actually love that entire section about the marshes, the fiddler crabs, the herons, the wind circling back through the same grass.
Oh yeah.
The whole thing is just beautiful. It's almost peaceful.
Yeah, there's a lot of recurrence, right? The tide comes and goes and comes and goes. So you've got the recurrence of the tides, but yeah, also that even the wind circles back through the same grass as if it never left. Also brings that idea in really strong.
So I'm interested in the fiddler crabs. I'm not sure. I haven't looked them up, but they remind me. So I watch the Discovery Channel occasionally, all the time. I saw once, and I don't remember what it's called. I think there's a fish that literally does this. They use their fins and they draw like designs in the ocean floor, in the sand on the ocean floor. And if it's not perfect, they'll rub it out and start over. And so part of me wants to look up fiddler crabs to see if they have a similar pattern of literally drawing maps and then erasing them and starting over. Because it's what it reminded me of. So
have you ever seen the crabs at the beach where they've got like a small claw and a huge claw?
I think I've seen that, but to be completely honest, I think I can count the number of times I've been to the beach on one hand.
Oh. Well, I grew up in Northern California, pretty close to the rocky California coast. So
nice.
Tide pools were a natural part of my childhood. And
that's awesome.
The fiddler crabs, well, the male fiddler crabs are those crabs you see that have I think it's their right claw that is really, really big, and then their left claw is small. But it's not a species. It's actually a huge family of like 1,000 or something species. So, but yeah, you'll see them, in like tide pools quite a bit. And the males anyway have these different sized claws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you've watched a heron. I I encountered them for the first time when I was visiting my parents, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful birds. And to watch them just stand there, it's mind-boggling how still they just stand there, and it's crazy. So this heron stands still long enough that stillness feels like thought, and it is. It's like you sit there and you watch them long enough, and you start thinking about something, and it's crazy. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous and graceful.
Mm.
So.
I don't think I would know a heron if it walked up to me and asked me for $1.
No?
I mean, I know that there are herons, and I'm sure that I've seen herons, but they're not like distinctly recognizable to me. So, yeah. And I don't know, maybe there aren't any in Northern California. I don't know. What do I know? I mean, mostly what I'm used to for waterfowl is like seagulls and things like that. But I'm sure I must have seen a heron at some point. But yeah, I don't even know what they look like, to be honest.
They're really pretty. So, I also love this. So the last stanza hits sort of, I don't know, not hard, but the old man I once pitied doesn't feel distant anymore. He feels like someone already sitting nearby, listening to the tide do what it was always done. And I'm like, I like this idea. I like this idea that the person I'm going to be is already sitting here nearby, just waiting for it to happen, because it's going to. It's right. It's inevitable. Right. And so it's just, I think it's refreshing that my future self is my best friend, because they know what I've been through, right? And so it's, I don't know, I like it. It's almost comforting.
Yeah. I actually I think the couplet before that is the part that really stuck out to me. Pac-Man writes, "Now I think the waiting was never separate from the life itself. It was the shape of it." I think that's, to me anyway, that was kind of the key realization of the poem. It's not the volta, but I think it's kind of the key. So the waiting isn't delay. And it's not the failure, I guess, that is inherent in the prompt. It's just part of life. And we have some feedback. Do you have this? Are you on the phone end?
I'm on my computer with an earbud. I'm getting an echo from you, though.
No, there is an echo. I'm wondering. It's gone now.
Okay.
Anyway, anything else we want to say about this this beautiful poem? Title Promises by Pac-Man.
I think if we say too much more, the people who want to go back and read it aren't going to have anything to think of on their own.
All right. Well, I think we should say that we both agreed that this was definitely the gold medal winner for the contest.
Absolutely. A very well-earned gold medalist. It was a pleasure to read. Absolutely beautiful, well-written poem. So thank you, Pac-Man, for sharing it with us.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I will paste the next link. If I can pull up the window, and I will then give what? Why did that not come out as a link?
Well, I'll get the link. You read.
No, I pasted it there. It just took the window a minute to turn it into a
refresh.
hyperlink. So this was a last minute addition to the contest, and it is titled "Safe" by Ingrazia Day. The dead man was left nowhere, and he had no opinion on the matter. He twiddled, much like he had done in life, safely away from the salt of another's skin. His bread left conveniently out to harden or mold, whichever came first. His fingers cupped his heart, not to keep its beat, but to hope it did not beat too loudly. What choice did he have? When life came at him too fast to decipher. Life was, after all, too important to be taken lightly. So he did not wither on the leaf. He did not raise Cain. He spent his days collecting cans he could not find the tops to. He waited for the alarm bells to ring, for the days and nights to reorganize itself into something comprehensible. His life comes to him now in flashes of primary colors, vivid but garish. He waited for a better day, the dust to settle, a harbor, and now it was finally here, finally bereft of the time that had hurtled his life. He writhes at the pinprick of memory. Finally, passion diluted. Finally, love stifled. Finally, uncertainty certain. For what a relief to escape. No bullets weave, no paths begin and end the same. He sighs. Finally, I am safe. End poem. What do you think?
I think this is a really strong poem. I think there are two spots that hit me the hardest. So the first one is near the top. It says his fingers cupped his heart, not to keep its beat, but to hope it did not beat too loudly. Oh my gosh. I have definitely had that moment where, oh my gosh, can the person next to me hear my heart racing? Like, could it please do it a little bit more quietly? And if you haven't experienced, it's really hard to explain, but it's quite an impactful image. And the emotion tied to that is so strong. It's so vivid. It's its own, it's almost its own category of emotion. What would you call that? You call that anxiety? I don't know. It's crazy though. It's such a great description. The next one was closer to the end. It says he writhes at the pinprick of memory. Finally, passion diluted. Finally, love stifled. Finally, uncertainty certain. For what a relief to escape no bullets. Oh my gosh. To think that it's I think the part that hits me most about this is the finally in the front of those.
Yeah.
If you take those out, it's just not as strong. And it's like the finally is like a breath of fresh air. It's like I don't have to deal with these emotions anymore, even some of the good ones. It's like finally I can just relax. It's which, you know, when you think of some of things like passion or love, like at the best of times, who would want to relax from that? But like the whole thing, that section feels like a massive sigh of relief. And they did such a beautiful job portraying that. And it really just, it would not be the same if you took the finally out of it. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. The finales there are just brutal. So my reading of this, every time I've read it, including just now when I read it aloud, unlike past weeks, it always hit me the same. This is someone who, in death, is looking back at, you know, the memories of their life. They have ended up, as the first stanza or first line says, that they you know, they're dead and they've arrived at nowhere. And still they have no opinion on that matter. And so then, you know, he twiddled, much like he had done in life. So twiddled is a really tiny gesture. Safely away from the salt of another skin, you get the sense of maybe no love life, or no passionate love, no love of their life, maybe. His bread left conveniently out to harden or mold, whichever came first. So this is, you know, someone who's lived a life of absolute passivity. I mean, they can't even make a decision as to whether they want to be moldy bread or hardened bread. They just leave themselves out. So this is a really passive life. And the bread stanzas, one of my favorites, and then my other favorite was yours. His fingers cupped his heart, not to keep its beat, but to hope it did not beat too loudly. So this is, again, somebody that lived their life trying to kind of they're not protecting their heart, they're protecting their impact on the world, right? They're trying to limit sort of their interaction. So this is somebody who lived their life making themselves small. So that finally hits really hard, because it's kind of in death when, you know, when they say, the previous stanza, he rides at the pinprick of memory. You know, he lived his life so small and intentionally unimpactful, and with such little intensity that, you know, like even a pinprick now is like excruciating pain, right? So and then, you know, finally passion diluted, finally love stifled, finally uncertainty certain. So these are all things like passion and love and uncertainty that, you know, most of us, you know, experience in life to some extent. But this, you know, the subject of the poem, the narrator, or no, I guess it's the he in the poem, has just like lived a life where none of these things were risked. And so that finally is just brutal. So you see all of these things, they're all in these reduced forms, right? Passion diluted, love stifled, and uncertainty now becomes certain. So it's almost like they're laughing at themselves in hindsight, I guess. So I thought this was another quiet but really brutal response to that sixth prompt.
Absolutely. So, JoJo, would you rather be hard bread or moldy bread?
Yeah. I think I would rather be hard bread, and I get the sense that bread molds when you put it in a plastic bag and seal it off from the world. Whereas hard
Mhm.
bread, gets hard because it's exposed to the world around it. But I
Yes.
kind of never wanted to actually become hard, and I've spent a lot of my life trying to make sure that I don't get hard against the world. And it's difficult. It's hard, pun intended,
Yeah.
to not do that. Especially if you take a lot of risks, because if you take a lot of risks in life, then you're gonna hit the wall a few times, and I think hitting the wall is one of those sets of things in life that harden you to life. So I love the delicate sense of balance that this poem is sort of pointing out.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? Mold
So
or hard?
I would much rather be hard bread. And
Yeah.
while I agree with your sentiment, hard bread can be dipped in olive oil and seasonings
Yes.
and still enjoyed.
Yep.
So moldy bread is good for the soil, maybe.
Well, and we get antibiotic. We get penicillin from moldy bread, right?
Right. But I think enjoying it with some seasoning and some oil
Yeah.
sounds
No.
way better. I might not be. I might be just a little bit hungry here, JoJo. Just a little.
Yeah. I purposely ate about an hour and a half ago, and then I kind of needed a nap. So now I'm drinking coffee to combat that. But hard bread I can dip in my hummus and slather it with avocado and top it with some sliced cherry tomatoes and put a little salt and little Kashmiri red chili powder on it, and I'm good to go. But moldy bread, I hate moldy bread.
Add them to salads as croutons. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Turn them into stuffing. You can turn hard bread into stuffing. That
too.
JoJo, we're just going to make each other more hungry. We should move on.
All right, stop. So we had already kind of gone through all of the poems in preparation for the contest ending when Safe was submitted, like a few hours, I think it was, before the contest ended. And so
yeah,
we had to go back. So, like last minute, we had to go back to the contest because we had another poem or two and we had to read it. And after reading this, we had to really make some adjustments to our initial.
We rearranged a bit.
Yeah, so
it was so strong.
I mean, it just quickly moved all the way up toward the very top. And I think if somebody works their way through this stanza by stanza, couplet by couplet, I think they'll see just what a strong poem this is. So I don't think I've ever seen a poem submitted to an LNP contest before by Ingratia Day, but
I don't think so. I think they're new.
Yeah. This poem earned an immediate follow for me. I just immediately went to their profile and hit the follow button. I don't do that very often based upon one poem, but this one definitely made me do that. Hey.
Yeah, I sure did. All right.
So, we awarded that the silver medal, and I think for
yes, we did. Very good reasons, very well earned, beautiful, right? Well done. Well done.
All right, so next up, it's your turn to read, and this will be called "Before the First Star" by Sky to Blue.
JoJo, you're an awesome co-host.
You're just saying that because you have nobody else to stay up this late at night.
Not my fault we're on opposite ends of the U.S.
Yeah, right.
That's all right. Before the First Star by Sky to Blue. Summer shins, scraped raw on blackberry vines. Blood a sharpness of copper, drying on the skin. Fingernails, always with that half-moon of dirt from garden soil. The smell of mold and sunshine. A shimmer of heat as white as cotton sheets, rippling on the breeze. And the sharp metallic tang of well water. The weight of a galvanized bucket, bruising thighs. The wet thud of dropped peaches rotting in the grass. And glistening, silvered trails of garden slugs. A porch swing sawed counterpoint with laughter. Whispered voices, the creak of mismatched rockers. Grandpa, splitting logs with leather-hardened palms. A shift of humidity, of pipe tobacco and old iron. Firefly constellations shimmered in the meadows. Bare feet bruising grass. Giggles, dancing skirts. Everything possible just after sundown, before the first star. End poem. So much nostalgia in that one. Oh my.
Yeah, this is not the first time Sky to Blue has just like instantly transported me back to childhood and just sort of held me in suspension there. You know, those
does
childhood
really good
fragments we were talking about earlier. This for me is just four stanzas of childhood fragments.
Oh yeah. It really is.
And beautifully done. You know, it's just like one vivid image after another. This is just so image heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. JoJo and I were talking earlier, and I don't think my grandfather ever smoked a pipe of tobacco. I don't think I ever saw him sit on a rocking chair, or not outside anyway. He had his big fluffy chair in the living room that nobody else was allowed to sit in. But the leather hardened palms and the hard work and firefly constellations and laughter, it's just such a beautiful image. And grandpa's always a good image, so it's very happy memories.
I think
the most beautiful use of mold I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, right. So you know, for those of us who grew up in the country, you know, in the bush, as Australians would say, you know, with you know, doing our own, growing our own food, raising our own animals, living on, you know, large plots, of land, and having our own wells, you know, having our own well with, in our case, the water was fairly rich in iron. This is just for me anyway. You know, where I lived, we had our own garden, we had our own bees, we had our own chickens and raised our own chickens and pigs and sheep and cattle and rabbits and so forth. And you know, had a common garden with sort of our neighbors, sort of our second set of parents, and their kids, and you know, in apple country in Northern California, where the blackberries grew wild along the side of the road. The first two stanzas here are, except for the dropped peaches, we had more dropped apples rotting in the grass and cherries. Every line of those first two stanzas is like a perfect description of like different pieces of my childhood. And yes, the use of mold here is perfect, but even better is the use of sunshine. And I just remember my brothers and me and our extended sister and brother being out in the garden, in the early spring when the sun was starting to kind of come out, and planting for the season ahead. The smell of mold and sunshine strikes me as being completely like a perfect description of that, let's say late February or early March, getting the planting or getting the garden ready for the spring planting. It definitely smelled of mold and sunshine. Sky to Blue absolutely grew up in a very similar kind of environment to my brothers and me. I'm convinced of it, because those first two stanzas, every line is just 100% accurate. So strong. And I'm still feeling like, we flipped a coin for silver and bronze and the first honorable mention or two. And so to me, this reads pretty much very similar, I think, to our previous, our silver medal winner, Safe. So what do you think? Did we lose you? Oh, you're on mute.
I was getting there.
All right. I figured kids came running into your office and you muted us to save us.
I was saving you from my coughing fit. But I think it's amazing. I do. I love it. And yeah, absolutely. If we could have given 2 silvers or 2 bronzes, we would have. But that's not the way it's set up. Can't do that. So, but absolutely well-deserved medal winner. And beautiful poem, beautiful images, just awesome.
Yeah,
amazing.
It's such a strong and beautiful write. This is so image heavy. It's just like a slideshow of my childhood. I swear, all of those little fragments I was talking about earlier, just captured in every line.
Absolutely. Absolutely beautiful. So thank you, Sky to Blue, for sharing with us.
All right, I guess that means I am up next.
It does.
Although maybe I should. So this is The Quiet Verbs by Ritalik. Maybe I should make you read it, and then I'll read the next one.
You mean you're going to read the next 2?
Or I'll read the next 2. How's that?
All right, that's fair. I suppose so. Here we go. The Quiet Verbs by Ritalik. For Logan, almost 15, almost a man. Your presence makes me want to be better every single day. This one is yours. Teach them the quiet verbs, not the loud ones, not the sharp ones, but the ones that settle like morning light on everything they touch. Being good is its own mountain, but being a good man, that is a different climb entirely. Before he took his first breath, goodness was already woven into him, sealed inside the soul. Before the world had any chance to touch it. Empathy, kindness, patience. He did not learn these things. He arrived with them. I was only ever the vessel. The vessel does not make the water holy. The water arrives holy. He came into this world already great. I did not make him. I only opened my eyes to see him, a giant who doesn't know his own size yet. His pureness touches everyone who meets him. They feel it before they understand it, the way you feel sunlight before you think to look up. An angel in a hoodie, walking quietly into every room. His light was never mine to give. I don't want you hard, my boy. Be the greatest. Stay gentle and unbreakable. You were born with gifts I spent a lifetime searching for. Guard them, give them freely. Go then. My spirit moves through you, like a quiet verb, like wind through an open door. Always behind you, always beside you, always lifting. End poem.
Mm. Beautiful. There's so much I love about this, but what I love the most about this is just how tender and heartfelt it is. So this is clearly a parent's love for their child, and the quote was very much boy centric, and this poem is dedicated to a child named Logan, a son. But I always just immediately generalize it to boys and girls because I have one of each, and so that's my frame of reference. And so I just love how sincere and heartfelt and loving and tender this is. And I think if I remember, the quote was maybe a little bit less so. And so
Yes.
this is, I think, capturing, sort of the more tender side of the quote. So I love just how tender this is. So the first half of it, or the first part of it before the volta, is really kind of taking a summary of the child, in terms of who they are, or who they already are. And so I love, before he took his first breath, goodness was already woven into him. That sense of, you inherit some of this maybe from mom and dad, mom or dad, but before that, teach them the quiet verbs, not the loud ones, not the sharp ones. So there's also there's sort of the genetics that you get, I guess, and then there's sort of the environment, the environmental aspect of who the child is, and then but it really is focusing a lot on sort of so there's a line a little later on: he did not learn these things, he arrived with them. So maybe this is the first part of this is maybe emphasizing the privileged genetics that the child inherited from mom and dad. He came into this world already great. I did not make him, I only opened my eyes to see him. So it's also the parent kind of discovering who the child is, almost as if maybe the mom or dad were oblivious maybe to what their impact had been on the child, and just sort of like one day opening their eyes and seeing the child, really seeing the child and going, oh wow, this is a great kid. But then where is it? At some point there it is. I don't want you hard, my boy. So that's kind of the volta, where the parent is kind of looking toward the kid's future and future development. So the poem goes from the parent sort of discovering who the kid is to then taking maybe a more active role in developing them into in those final stages of development into adulthood. And I thought that was every bit as beautifully written and every bit as tender as the beginning. Be the greatest, stay gentle and unbreakable. You were born with gifts I spent a lifetime searching for. Guard them, give them freely. So I thought this was a beautiful alignment with the prompt. Even though it focuses more on the tender side of it, it's still just perfect alignment with the prompt.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
You've got kids. What do you think? Your kids are younger, so you're on the front end of this still. But
I'm on the front end crazy side of this at the moment, and I love my children dearly, and I will say it 100 times over. I absolutely love them. And they're all different. They're all absolute sweethearts when they want to be. But it's awesome to watch them because they do. My oldest, for example, right? He's 8 and he is a sweetheart. And he wants so badly to make mommy's life easier. He can't keep his toys cleaned up or remember to stick his laundry in the laundry basket. But I go to put dinner away. I send him to the playroom. Mommy's got to put dinner away. Mommy, I'll do that. That way you don't have to work so hard. I want to be responsible. I'm like, I appreciate your desire to be responsible, but let's work on the things you're already responsible for. And he just starts naming them. He goes, like putting toys away. I'm like, yeah, like putting toys away. And so it's just, he's so sweet and he wants so hard to be a good kid. And it's amazing. And they all have moments like that. That one was just today. But it's amazing because they all have their thing. My daughter loves everybody. She might love them with 120% energy and have to be stopped from strangling them with love, but she loves everybody. And it's awesome to watch. She just wants to be close to people and to play with them and to love them. And it's beautiful. So yes, I connected with this poem on a very personal level because I have 4 adorable babies of my own who I want nothing more than to live life with the gifts that they have and knowing I support them. I'm with them always. So, Retallic, you got to the mama. So.
Yeah, nice, a really nice poem, and a good read there, by the way.
Thank you.
8 is maybe a little young to be expecting a boy to be putting their, sort of taking care of their own laundry to some extent. I learned it when I was
put it in the basket, not on the floor.
I know, I kind of learned it when I was 10 because that's when I first started traveling. Well, that was when I traveled all by myself with my grandparents to the South Pacific. And so, if I didn't do my laundry, I was not going to have any clean socks or underwear for the entire trip. So that was when I kind of learned that having clean clothes was my responsibility. But when it really kind of hit me was when I was again, traveling with my grandparents when I was 12, and I discovered girls. And after that, I was always on top of my laundry because I didn't want to go to school not looking good. So it's you've maybe still got a year or two, but I think it's never too young to start teaching them to be self-sufficient. And so it'll happen.
Yeah. Oh, I know it will. But it was a very sweet moment, and I appreciated that. So
yeah.
It's your turn.
It is. So next up is the jar stands empty. by Burano. All right. The jar stands empty by Burano. Rain falls. The cellar dampens. We were a fist of salt. Time drips steady, bleaching the marrow. A brother vanishes into twilight. A mother rots into the frame. The tight knot slackens. No screams, just the quiet liquefaction of names. The soil drinks. The jar stands empty. End poem. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah. This one was, well, it's despite being short, it's dense. There's a lot of emotion in this one.
Yeah. Did you notice the salt metaphor again for the family?
I did notice it.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear time dripping too.
Now it's a fist of salt, right? Like it's this fist that's gripping. Nice, right?
Mm-hmm. I am curious why he used that particular metaphor of salt. Why a fist of salt? Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know. There's nothing in the prompt about it, and I don't remember anything about salt in the Prince of Tides, but oh wait, that's right. The prompt has salt in it. That's right. The prompt has salt in it. This is the prompt is: a family is one of nature's solubles. It dissolves in time like salt in rainwater. I remembered the nature's, a family is one of nature's solubles, and then I forgot that it was, salt in rainwater. Duh.
But I am curious about a fist of salt as opposed to a pinch of salt, or that's the part I'm curious about. Why that measurement? Maybe I'm overthinking it. I don't know, possibly.
To me, the image is the hand is compressing the salt into a dense chunk of salt. That's the image I get. So it's like this really dense, compacted salt.
Yeah.
Like the fist binds it all together physically.
Yeah.
But
okay, that would make sense. And then that works. Because then the next section is time drips steady, bleaching the marrow.
Mm.
So if time is dripping and slowly eroding the fist of salt, that's, I guess, family or whoever we are. And so it's because a brother vanishes into twilight, a mother rots into the frame, the knot slackens. I think it's and I get the impression that all of these things are happening in time with time dripping, like almost like listening to a metronome, and they're just one after the other. Someone vanishes, somebody rots, something slackens. It's and I get that sort of rhythm from it. I think the part that's the most, disturbing. Mm-hmm. This isn't necessarily a pleasant piece, is it says there's no screams, just the quiet liquefaction of names.
Yeah.
That's, oh my gosh, it's just silently disappearing.
Yeah, so that's that ties back to the dissolving or dissolution, in the prompt.
Yeah.
It's really tight.
I will say, and I think we agreed on this, I wish the poem was a little bit longer. He did a great job. I just wish it had more to it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that later, and what I wanted is for it to be longer just because it was so beautifully written and such great imagery. I just wanted more. I don't think writing more would make it a stronger poem. I think it's already just incredibly strong. I was just left wanting to keep reading, just, you know, to just keep reading Burano's writing. It's just so gorgeous. So, you know, I think this is, again, one of the, you know, we had a top tier of really strong poems.
We really did, yeah.
If this had been 3 or 4 stanzas longer, I probably wouldn't have been left wanting to keep, you know, I mean, when I finished reading this, I was like, I wish this had been twice or 3 times as long, because it's just so gorgeously written.
Yeah.
But they do capture, I think, all of the different aspects of the prompt, and also somewhat of the Prince of Tides as well. Not just the prompt, but kind of the atmosphere, I guess, of the Prince of Tides as well. So,
yeah,
it's another case of I wish we
absolutely.
had 6 medals to give away instead of just 3. So,
Right, yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I was just thinking about time drips steady, bleaching the marrow. I think is probably my favorite couplet anyway, because time there turns to a liquid, and so I think it's, you know, sort of the it's the rainwater in the quote. You know, get the rainwater is dripping steady, and I think, you know, doing the quiet liquefaction that comes later, you know, dissolving the salt in the hand, but doing more than that, bleaching the marrow. So, you know, if you think of the family as this hand squeezing the salt, then time is like bleaching the entire family, you know, the marrow, you know, down to the bones. And so I thought that was just my favorite image in this whole but also the mother rotting into the frame is, oh, that's just brutal. I got the sense of the empty nest, you know, empty nesting, you know, when the kids leave home. I just remember, like, when my daughter moved out into her own apartment, it felt like that. Like I was just, you know, like dissolving into, or rotting into, in my case, not the wallboard or frame of the walls, but into the hardwood floors, you know, just sort of like just disappearing and feeling so heartbroken and lonely and alone. And like I no longer had a purpose in life. You know what I mean? Like, just literally rotting into the frame of the apartment. So I thought that was just brutal.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I've had moments in my life where I just spent way too much time in bed, way too much time curled up in bed in a warm blanket because I couldn't bring myself to do anything else, emotionally or physically. So it's a very poignant line there.
Yeah.
So
well, Burano, that was just a fantastic write. Thank you.
Yeah, it really was.
And don't listen to us. It's perfectly, it's a perfect length as it is.
It really is.
Our appetite and left us wanting to just keep reading you. So, all right. Next up is A Mind in the Darkroom by Ben Thiessen. Or I don't know if it's Thiessen, Tyson. I'm mangling your name 3 ways and hopefully getting it right one way, Ben. Perhaps it's Tyson. When the I and the ego walk in, the second one does the talking, at least in German. So Tyson, maybe. A Mind in the Darkroom by Ben Thiessen. No negative exposed, no aperture opened, No flash with the shutter, all in total darkness. Camera obscura, memories held by her mind. Found by her brother, the blade had worked its harm. Punctures and gashes, violent blues turned to scars. Her innocence well behind her, gone in familial horror. The demon, her father, the photos she stored. 3 days since the trauma, 3 men had had their way. Her health, she would recover, but more photos filled her brain. Her nights spent in the dark room, her eyes controlled the shutter. Dreams turned to nightmares, held in against her eyelids. Death for now escaped her, but always near her mind. She'll breathe another morning, while synapses relive her pain. End poem. And I'm really sorry. That should have started off with a trigger warning, because
I was going to say, we should have started that with a trigger warning.
yeah, this is that prompt. Benno has the I'm very sure, though I should check. So Ben Tyson has some experience in law enforcement, or actually I don't remember. I don't know if it's law enforcement or perhaps counseling sexual assault victims. Anyway, oh, that's right. He was a police detective who investigated crimes of this sort against women and children. And so this is pretty on the nose response to that prompt. What did you think?
I agree. He got that one to a T. This is I thoroughly enjoyed the camera metaphor through the entire thing.
Yeah.
I recently, actually, in the past year, finished a class that included photography. And so I think I actually told him in my comment on this that exposure is probably one of my new favorite words since taking that class. And I think the way he brings the camera metaphor into this works beautifully. It does such a good job. And I think, so for people who aren't familiar with how exposure works in photography, it literally just describes how long is the sensor or the film exposed to the light. And so it's counted in microseconds, really. And so in this particular poem, it says no negative exposed, which means there is no exposure to this memory and this pain that she carries with her because of what she's experienced. And that's terrifying to live with something like that and to not have any light be able to shine on that. Because it's really it really is just a private battle. Like, there are support groups and things like that, but at 3:00 in the morning and you're stuck in a nightmare or inside your own head, there really isn't any exposure you can give to that unless you happen to have some really, really good friends. And so I think he did a great job describing the aftermath, the mental aftermath of this, and the impact that has on the victims. So very, very well written.
Yeah, it's really on the nose, isn't it? And it's not just the aftermath, but also the foremath, I guess, as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the beginning to end.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's he also captures the demon, her father, right? So gone, her innocence well behind her, gone in familial horror, the demon, her father, the photos she stored. So he captures what is more often than not this kind of violence against the child perpetrated by a family member, and more often than not a father, her father. So he kind of captures that familial violence that is so common in child abuse, and the description of the violence is also on the nose. Found by her brother, the blade had worked its harm, punctures and gashes, violent blues turned to scars. So you get the sense of the punctures and gashes, but you also get the sense that this has been going on for a while because some of the violent blues have turned to scars. So but then 3 days since the trauma, and then I think there's sexual assault. 3 men had their way. Her health, she would recover, but more photos filled her brain. And so the sense of memory, the nightmares, and the nightmares of the memory from in such cases that just last forever, basically. Yeah, I thought the camera metaphor was really strong here because it captures the situation in image-based kind of fragments, I guess. So it allowed him to write this as a sequence of images that is consistent with that camera metaphor. So I thought this was a really strong, but definitely very triggering poem. And
absolutely,
as I say, he brings a detective's a longtime detective's experience to this that gives it a sense of gravitas because it's just described so well.
Yeah, absolutely.
At times, much to my chagrin, because it's as we say, it's completely on the nose, all the way through. So it's a really strong write, but also a really kind of hard to read write as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ben Thiessen, thank you for your contribution, for your knowledge, and for this amazingly well-written poem, and for letting us share it.
Yes, indeed. All right. Now we go back to you with Madness Spelling Poetry by Garanwi. Or maybe I should do this. Let me look. Yeah, you go for it.
Okay. Madness Spelling Poetry by Garanwi. I get a little angry because I write love affairs with words, caught rolling alphabets of letters in metaphors' confusion, finding madness spelling poetry, It's my own insanity. Passing time with blotted pages, cutting up sounds, shouting out verses in the head no one ever hears, hearing one hand clapping sounds, bowing to empty space, with pen fingers dipped in ink, writing on shed walls, listing all words, keeping scores on pages of madness, torn up, thrown onto floors, filling paper baskets, finding raging lines in my mind, never written down, finding questions with no answers to why poets are effed up. End poem.
Well, I think we both know, we all know what prompt this corresponds to, hey?
I agree. Something about people who read? What?
Mm.
And I do believe I adamantly denied being effed up. I'm perfectly normal.
Yeah. So the prompt is about reading, but this sort of takes the converse flip side and turns it to writing. I get a little angry because I write love affairs with words, and so this is maybe making the argument that it's not just readers who are a little effed up, but it's also the writers who are writing what those effed up readers are reading that are also effed up. And I think that's absolutely fair enough. And so really good alignment with that prompt, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But in this case, it's not just writing in general, it's actually poetry. So the third couplet is finding madness spelling poetry. It's my own insanity.
Yeah.
Nice, huh?
I think it's interesting. So the way, like, if you just start with the first couplet, the way he writes it and where he breaks it, it says, I get a little angry because I write love affairs with words. So he could either be writing love affairs with words, or because I write, and writing is a love affair with words.
Right.
And it works both ways. It doesn't matter which way you read it.
Yep.
It works with his poem. And I love his metaphors, like every single one of them. Each couplet is a beautiful metaphor. Finding madness, spelling poetry. It's my own insanity. Passing time with blotted pages, cutting up sounds. JoJo, do you actually use pages that can be blotted? I know there are people who still do. There are people who sort of like half and half with their phone or on their computer and actual pages and pencils. When was the last time you blotted a page?
So when I was in sixth grade, we had this incredible teacher, Rod Buchignani, who was, among other things, he got interested at some point in calligraphy, and so he decided to offer a calligraphy elective, and so from about the age of 12 on, I learned calligraphy, and I can assure you, I blotted pages fairly regularly. So yeah, I don't write often on paper nowadays, but I do have. I buy artist sketchbooks with like, you know, heavy paper that people use for drawing and so forth. And right now I've been doing mostly on the computer, but I go through very long stretches of time where I write in those sketchbooks.
Nice.
Poetry, but I also you know, use them for just keeping track of my life. So yeah, I have, but it has been a while now. So
I think it's interesting that you bring up calligraphy because I want to say about 12, 13 years old, I decided I wanted to learn calligraphy. And so my parents bought me a set of fountain pens.
Yep.
And so I have absolutely experienced the joy of ink and blotted pages.
Yep. That's where I learned it.
I have not picked up a fountain pen in
Yeah.
so long.
I can tell you what your mistake was.
Uh-huh.
Getting married and having kids will do that to you. It will destroy all of your hobbies.
That's why I stopped reading hard books. I listen to audiobooks these days.
Right,
Not that I
exactly.
don't want to read a hard book. I think
mean,
they're amazing. I just don't have time. Anyway, but with that being said, going back to this, shouting out verses in the head no one ever hears. Been there, done that. You ever screamed at yourself inside your head because you can't figure out the next line?
That's the only way I talk to myself.
Hearing one hand clapping sounds, bowing to empty spaces. Yeah, bravo. That was so good. Nobody heard it, but it was amazing. Yeah, I've done that. Absolutely. Yep. I think this right is fun. I think it's spot on. I won't say for all poets. I can't speak for all poets, but I would say definitely a lot of them, possibly a vast majority of them, or anyone for that matter who writes. Raging lines in my mind, never written down. It's a great poem. It's fun. It's got great metaphors in every couplet. It's great. I liked it. What do you think, JoJo?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I really enjoyed it. That sense of insanity and madness. And what I liked about the first couplet was I get a little angry because I write, and then love affairs with words. The love affairs implies both passion and compulsion or obsession. Right out of the gate, you just get that sense of deep passion and deep obsession or compulsion. And then he or she, they carry it through. There's a lot of compulsion, obsession, and passion, and also maybe a sense of anger because you just have no ability to control it. Finding madness spelling poetry, it's my own insanity, I think captures that really nicely. And then the next to the last couplet, finding raging lines in my mind never written down, finding questions with no answers to why poets are fucked up. It's really kind of full on for that prompt. So I liked that it was, they turned it into the writing side, whereas the prompt was the reading side.
Yeah, so very, very nicely done.
Yeah. All right, you're up next. Or did you read it? You read that? No. You read that.
Yeah. So, yes, I did.
Next up is me reading Death is Their Life by Cobbler Monty G, 25. I thought I would never grow old, that other timbers would surpass me. But alas, my limbs became as stiff as theirs. The sap I had become accustomed to enjoy now saw its capillaries unable to carry them on. Flowers once flourishing from me now falter and die. Their seed also long gone, cast off by the winds of time. Then to reside above the soil they desperately sought, as their forefathers had, they too shall wither in time. What shall become of this now decrepit jarrah trunk? Will it be enjoyed by those in need of its offerings, or it will be left to rot in the company of others, transplanted with similarly abandoned souls, where gardeners show them no respect, for-granted and forgotten as being alive, wallowing in a barren, shallow grave, In time, they will be ceased to exist. So to will their successors and many that follow. As memories fade, death is their life. End poem.
Mm.
All right. What do you think?
I think you should go first.
Oh, all right. So first of all, for Monty's American mates, a jarrah is an Australian tree. It's a hardwood, and I know this from having lived in Australia for 11 years, but not really. I know this because like my BFFs have a son named Jarrah, who's sort of like a nephew to me. And when they decided to name him Jarrah, I looked the word up, and so I think jarrahs are very common in Western Australia, where Monty G lives. So that's that. I like how this. So this is, I think, fits the Prince of Tide in terms of the family dissolving, I guess. So this is definitely, but it may also fit the sixth prompt about age, and so I think this fits the spirit of the Prince of Tides as well as several of the prompts. So clearly, what you see here is this metaphor around generations of family, because there's mention of like forefathers and successors and memory and aging and disappearance. The jarrah falling, well, it doesn't really say falling down, but wallowing in a barren, shallow grave, and or being left to rot in the company of others. So a tree that has fallen amongst other fallen trees and is just left there to rot, and that this metaphor of nature and well, trees is strong, and so toward the end, wallowing in a barren, shallow grave, in time they will be ceased to exist. So to will their successors and many that follow, as memories fade, death is their life. So it's the circle of life, using trees metaphor, and so it's a nicely done piece covering the family over generations, and the circle of life. So really, really well done, with a very nice, I would say, Western Australian flair, because I think the jarrahs are mostly Western Australia. So what'd you think?
I really enjoyed it. I like that it goes through this sort of life cycle of a tree, so to speak, right? The narrator, I guess, is comparing themselves to a tree. And so I thought I would never grow old, or that other timbers would surpass me. I'm like, right? How many of us look at the 18-year-olds and go, "Oh my gosh, I feel old," right? Like, and they're doing things that we definitely can't do anymore. So they've surpassed us in a way. It's like this app I had become accustomed to enjoy now saw its capillaries unable to carry them. So it's this tree that's grown old, and it's been cut down. It's got its capillaries cut off. Anyway, and so, and then it gets turned into this trunk, and it's just sort of like, right, you live as a tree, and then you get cut down, and you get turned into something else. That lives for a little bit while longer, if you can call it living, And then, am I ever even going to be remembered? Will it be enjoyed by those in need of its offerings, or will be left to rot in the company of others? And so it's just this. It feels like, are my children going to take care of me? Or are they going to stick me in an old folks' home and forget about me? And leave me to rot in the company of others? Not that those establishments are bad. I'm not saying anything against them, but I guess that's sort of how this feels to me, is like all of this younger generation, what are they going to do once I'm old and I need taken care of, right? Is sort of the impression I got here. Right, where gardeners show them no respect, for granted and forgotten as being alive. Like, I think life has become so fast. Cars are faster, planes are, everything's faster. Even talking to people is faster. I mean, way back when it used to take weeks to talk to somebody on the other side of the US? And I'm talking to someone in Connecticut from Alaska, and it takes 3 seconds or however long it takes you to answer your phone.
Yeah.
And so like life is at blinking speed essentially. And so I think this is a great reflection on that, is what or who, I guess, are we forgetting as we go through our lives? And are we going to be forgotten as the next generation goes through theirs?
All right. Nicely done, mate. Good job, Monty G.
Yes.
All right.
Very well done.
Next up is Pam's piece. And I think we have a SoundCloud for that.
I believe we do.
Or do we? Oh, yes. So we will wait for Pam to play her SoundCloud. Hopefully. She's working behind the scenes.
Walking upon sand of dying peonies. Time shifts and blurs. In it I feel lost, a degenerate with a camera, trying to capture 1,000 moments within a lifetime. Damn you, nature. Damn you, time. You grip my follies and display my crimes. I shiver in the light of exposure. I walk upon sand, sink into clay, and plant seeds in soil made of dying peonies and the last breath of salmon swimming against the current. I spill ink and break the quill, raffling off the feathers to a land of nod. With a flick of the wrist and the hum of the mind, I check the boxes that choke upon the dust of stars. I, the corpuscular bride, ride the wind away from broken theories of loss and survival. And poem.
All right there, Monarch, what'd you think?
I think I need you to go first because I have a child knocking on my door. I will be right back.
Well, first, I'm really glad there's a SoundCloud, because when I first read the poem, I was like, wait, how do you pronounce, is it ponies or peonies? So I'm glad Pam read it. So what I liked about this was I think this is oh yeah, this is inspired by the last quote. So again, this is another poem inspired by I should read it because oh, I lost my contest. So this is the response to I lived with the terrible knowledge that one day I would be an old man still waiting for my real life to start. Already I pitied that old man. And so first of all, what I like is this has a really surreal, a little bit of a surreal feel to it. And being a serious lover of surrealism, I got this this surreal sense or atmosphere from it, almost a little dreamlike. And so I think because it's written a little bit abstractly, brilliantly abstractly. So I love just the, time shifts and blurs in it. I feel lost, a degenerate with a camera. So there's that sense of taking pictures again. And
Mhm.
thinking of, your life as a sense of pictures or images.
Mhm.
That last couplet trying to capture 1,000 moments within a lifetime. So there's that, again, that sense of fragments. And
Mhm.
pictures and the using the dying ponies is strong, or sorry, peonies is strong. Dying flowers as a metaphor for end of life, let's say, not end of life, but late life,
Mhm.
where your beautiful flowering moments, most of them are maybe behind you. And so they're captured as these 1,000 moments, as sort of images. And I like the idea of the flowers kind of representing that. And then that second stanza of just like railing against nature and time, damn you nature, damn you time. And sort of saying, you expose my crimes, I think is a really strong line there as well. And then, I shiver in the light of exposure, that sense of maybe getting cold. Circulation slows down later in life, and you're maybe post female or post male menopause, and where you're just like your hormones change later in life, and maybe you spend all winter freezing to death because there's just no way to get warm. So the shivering in the light of exposure is really good. But I think I really liked the stanza. I spill ink and break the quill, raffling off the feathers to a land of nod. So maybe this is Pam's way of capturing that sense of writing poetry, and dealing with some of these issues of age, with poetry, and to a land of nod, I think is strong. Maybe you're falling asleep at 3 o'clock in the afternoon more often than you did when you were younger, but maybe also it's a nod toward death, perhaps, that at
Mhm.
some point you'll break the quill and you'll stop writing because time and nature have finally caught up, as it does with all of us. So I thought this was a really strong poem, and those were my thoughts anyway. What about you?
I agree with you. I think it's a very strong poem, and I really enjoyed that stanza about breaking the quill and raffling off the feathers.
Mm.
I think the one that sort of caught me, obviously the camera metaphor is awesome. I love camera
Yep.
metaphors; they're amazing.
Yep.
But past that, keep going. It says, I walk upon sand, sink into clay, and plant seeds in soil made of dying peonies, and the last breath of salmon swimming against the current.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with the salmon run.
Yep.
And the salmon will swim against the current, and they will jump small waterfalls to get back to where they need to be to lay their eggs. And it really is the last stretch of their life. And it's really kind of the last part of a salmon's life is really kind of morbid and gross. But it's really cool to see the determination for them to get back to the waters where they hatched as eggs, right?
Yep.
Because that's what they're doing, is they remember that somehow. Don't ask me how, but they do. They remember that. And so they're coming back to the place where they were born so that they can lay their own eggs. And I think that's a really powerful metaphor right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We might be walk on sand, sink into clay, and plant seeds. Right. We might be on our last breath, but it's the last breath of a salmon swimming against the current.
Mm-hmm.
JoJo, have you ever tried to swim against the current? It's
yes.
not easy. It's not easy. It's not fun. And so I love that part of it. Just the determination and the commitment that it takes for just that piece of it before you get to the breaking the quill and checking the boxes. And I appreciate that part of it. Like, the whole thing is gorgeous, but I absolutely love the determination and commitment in the last breath of salmon swimming against the current. It's amazing for me. I love it. It's awesome. I'll say it again. I love it.
Yeah.
Good job, Pam.
Yeah, it's fantastic, Pam. I think we loved every stanza in this equally. So I think it was maybe there's a dam in or around Portland. What's the river? Anyway, I remember visiting it as a kid, and they have a dam, but then they have these little waterways where the water is always flowing down the waterways, kind of around the edge of the dam, and it's not really for overflow. It's actually to create a little waterway so that the salmon swim up this waterway to get to the top of the dam and continue upstream. I forget what they call them, but they build them around dams where there's lots of salmon, and therefore salmon runs. And so they have to not only swim upstream, but they also have to swim uphill to get around dams. And that really is swimming against the current. And it really probably does take their last breath to get up those damn things. They're like little stairs. So yeah, I thought that the image of that stanza was fantastic.
It really was. So here you go, JoJo. I'm going to stick you on the spot. Hold on, just real quick. I'm going to put you on the spot. Pam, she did write to our prompts, and she was inspired by them. She did not feel the need to submit this poem to the contest itself.
Yep.
Which is fine. However, I'm going to put you on the spot. If she had, where would you put it?
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I really liked this poem, so I would place it up there in that top tier. Like with the quiet verbs and before the first star and so forth. So yeah, this would be up there. Yeah, I mean, we had reasons for our top 3 medalists. I'd have to think about whether this would be a competitor for one of those medal spots. But I love the imagery in this. I love the surrealism in this, and I was thinking about was it before the Sky to Blues piece was before the first star, which
Yeah.
also had you know, all of that beautiful imagery that I loved so much. So I at least kind of placed this in that same bucket of, you know, intense imagery based, you know, but you know, this has some surreal kind of dreamlike feel to it. And it's very reflective. So anyway, I would kind of put it in that same bucket of, you know, serious image based poems that you know, like before the first star was, you know, in my head anyway, is sort of in that same image based bucket. So but you know, maybe being a someone of similar age, I think, to Pam, this also you know, kind of spoke to me from sort of a looking back at your life kind of a perspective. There's a certain amount of that, not nostalgia, but sort of reflective kind of a take on that prompt that I think is a little sad. You know, when you get to this age in life, you know, there's a little bit of sadness when you look back on your life, but also this sense of accomplishment and joy. And what I like about Pam's piece is it's not grief and sadness. It's this nice balance of reflection and recognition, I guess, of that stage of life. So I thought Pam balanced it really well, as you might expect. I mean, she always has this very positive attitude, and so you know, there's no crying here, there's no real grief here, but there is sort of a quiet reflection and recognition. So I think that's also a strong part of this poem.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you.
All right. Rather than keep Pam up past her bedtime talking about Pam's poem, I think probably we should let her get to bed, and we should end this.
Yes. Thank you, Pam, for everything you do behind the scenes.
Always.
We appreciate you. Good night, everybody.
See you next Thursday.